Hi, folks. Joko here, and I am an IELTS tutor and English teacher and administrator at some schools in Southeast Asia. Anyway, I also do this IELTS free advice stuff in my spare time. Free time. Just don't have a lot of them, so be great. Well, I don't have a lot of great things to say about tonight's essay, and so considering the proximity to his actual test. No. Okay, so what do we got? Some people say that television is useful for education. Well, yes, okay. While others say it is more useful for entertainment. Discuss both views and give your own opinion. Where did you get this question? I actually looked around for it, and I found it on a lot of not very reputable IELTS websites, and not the best place to get your practice questions, because this is a very strange question. Well, let's analyze it to see why I say that. Okay, some people say that television is useful for education. Sure, I think everybody would say that. I mean, it has some usefulness for education. There's educational TV programs for children and adults, and of course it's useful for education. That's not a side, it's not a view, it's just the truth. While others say it is more useful for entertainment. Okay, now of course it's useful for entertainment. That's the main reason people watch TV, is to be entertained. That's the number one priority, the number one reality. But so the only thing at issue here in this question is it more useful as entertainment or useful for education? Well, I don't agree that it's something that can be highly entertaining. It can be very, very entertaining, but yet it's not useful. Useful and entertainment just don't really go together. I mean, they're just two ideas that are, it's like mixing two ideas. Useful entertainment. What strange words. I don't like the question. Discuss both views and give your own opinion. Those I do know. And also I know, give reasons for your answers and include any examples from your own knowledge or experience. Okay? Some people are very familiar with the provide examples part, but from your own knowledge or understanding. And give reasons for your answers. Explain your answers. Or just state them. That's the basis of task response. Let's take a look. This comes from a guy who had said his test is in just a couple of days. I hope I don't hurt his self-confidence here. Okay, now when I give feedback, I use a color code up here. You see pink, orange, red, sort of, blue, yellow, and green. And those are for task response. Understanding the question, okay, that's part of task response. Coherence and cohesion, sentences that are not confusing and are well connected, not in this instance appropriately connected. Yellow is vocabulary, and green is grammar. Okay, now, you give a lot of thought into this introduction. I mean, I quickly discovered that I think you're using a template. It is considered by some that they can get educated. Well, let's analyze this question a little bit more. Who are we talking about here? Yeah? Okay? Some people say the television. Okay, education for who? For the people saying it, or for the society at large? I'd have to say society at large. I would assume, or it doesn't say anything about school kids or anything like that. It's useful for education. While others say it is more useful for entertainment. Entertainment for who? Obviously, people who are watching the television, and the people who say it too. But there's nothing in here in this question that indicates that if someone's talking about getting educated through television. That's not what the question's asking. that they can get educated. So it's red for task response because that's not part of the question. And don't use get. Get is a very handy verb. It can mean a lot of things, but it's also informal, and it sounds ugly. Get. Yeah. No, we don't use get in an IELTS essay. They can become. They can be. You can just be educated through television. Become educated through television. All right, sure. By some, widely held. I think everybody agrees with that. While others are of the view, I guess this is a template, that television is mostly used for entertainment. Okay, once again, go back to the question. The question talks about it being useful, not used for. You know, this essay argues, this is now, okay, now you're using just canned lines. An essay doesn't argue anything. People, you argue something. And it's not really an argument. It's just a description of the way the world is. Although television can help gain knowledge. Those two words do not collocate. The collocation are word friends, words that go together. At least it's very uncommon. People can gain knowledge. Is that why they're watching TV? When they'll gain knowledge. Learn. Oh, learn. Okay, of course. Well, learn is much too simple, right? No, it's straightforward and clean. It can help people learn through documentaries. It is widely used to watch movies, sports, and drama. Now, we use the connector although, okay, to describe two things that are contrast. Why can't it do both? Why can't it? Although these two ideas do not contrast one another. On the one hand, saw that coming, people can have access to. Don't include unnecessary words. You do this a lot. You spend a lot of time writing things that don't need to be there. Can have access. People access various documentaries and programs. It's true, people do. We're talking about the present, the way things are now. People have access to. People can watch, can access. People can access, and you don't need two should go. But can have access is not collocation. We don't put those words together. People can access various documentaries and programs, which can be watched on television. Well, of course. This whole second part, which can be watched. People have access, and what are they going to do when they have access? They're just going to let it sit there on their hard drive and never watch it? Okay, that's not needed. And you have repeated the can. In other words, these documentaries. Okay, this is now this is the big problem I have with templates. Okay, now the template that you got from Jay or from whatever source that you got this from, because I've seen 100 essays just like this. In other words, therefore, for example, thusly, and then the next paragraph. On the other hand, that is to say, in other words, and then for instance, it's just you're not paying attention to what these connectors are supposed to be used for. In other words, you need to, your second half of the in other words needs to be what the first part was talking about. Exactly, just in other words. That's what it means, in other words. So, these documentaries provide knowledge on various subjects like wildlife and biographies. Is not other words for people can have access to various documentaries and programs. Okay, which we watch on television. That's not other words for other. They're different words. These documentaries provide knowledge. No, not a good collocation on various subjects like wildlife and biographies. For example, the National Geographic Channel provides. You're repeating, you got provides. Documentaries. That's the third time you've used documentaries. Over here, by the way. That's the third time you've used documentaries in this half paragraph. Provides documentaries 24 hours a day. No, it doesn't. On different animals, only animals on National Geographic, only animals. On different animals present on land and water. Yeah, that's blue because it's just not needed. It's confusing. Where else are the animals? They're not doing documentaries on animals in the zoo. And even then, they would be on present in land and in water. It will allow people, it allows people to have a closer look at the environment by watching TV. Oh, yeah. Along with overall understanding. Okay, now this is green for grammar. First of all, it allows, not it will allow, people to have a closer look at the environment. Along with, now that part there, along with those words, it's like and, okay, or any other thing that creates two what should be parallel constructions, okay, meaning that what comes after have a closer look at the environment needs to be parallel to what comes after along with. Okay, what I mean is people will allow, it allows people to have a closer look at the environment along with the history of their country. Okay, you have a closer look. Those two halves of the sentence are not parallel. However, these documentaries do not give in-depth knowledge. That's the second time for knowledge, which is always good. Don't use good. It's such a vague word. What I mean is it doesn't really tell us anything. Which is always good when learning new things, and therefore cannot be used as a form of education, which is always good. So always good is the giving or the knowledge itself. It's confusing. You have a referencing problem there when learning new things. And when learning new things and therefore. Okay, so this is red because this is a great example of an unsupported opinion. How do you people can still watch animals on TV and use TV for other things. Wait a minute. Do not give in-depth knowledge. 24 hours a day. On the other hand, I use television to entertain themselves, yes, by watching it in their leisure time. You don't need that part. Many people use television just to entertain themselves, period. This is to say, saw it coming. So you need to say many people use television to entertain themselves in another way. That it provides them with a huge number of channels that there's another which are related to dramas, music, sports, and movies. Do not list things like this, even though it's only a list of 4, but it seems like you're just writing to take up space. For instance, okay, now what is this an example of? In India, many families gather. Provides them with a huge number of channels which are related to dramas, music, sports, and movies. For instance, here's some of the channels that you can get. Your example needs to directly follow what it is that you're exemplifying. For instance, in India, many families gather in front of the television, to get entertained. Don't use get. All right. And so why does that mean you can't use it for education too? It allows them to spend time and have fun. And therefore, you agreed because they have fun. That's very kind of you. I agree that television is used as a form of entertainment. No one's denying that. It is used as a form of entertainment. Is it more useful doing that than as an education tool?
In other words, so what I'm trying to get at is that the crux, the main point of this question is, as a form of entertainment, is television more useful than as a form of education? Okay? That's what this question is about. And unfortunately, you've missed that. I think it's just a confusion between useful and used for. All right, that's the last thing I have to say.
I hope you watch this on your television. And good luck in a couple of days.